Hey team, and welcome to the video version of the Funnily Enough podcast. This is where you get the raw, unedited version of the interviews that we do on the show. If you're more of an audio person, then head over to Apple Podcasts or any of the platforms that you like that supports podcasting, and you can listen to the fully edited thing there with intros, outros, and all the fun little jingles. However, if you're more of a video person, then that is coming right up. On this week's episode of Funnily Enough, we have a very good friend of mine. He's just classed himself as a grizzly bear, but I like to think he's more of a friendly giant. He's one of the most sought after keynote speakers, I should say, a New York Times best-selling author with 9 books and counting. And I'd list the companies that you've consulted with, but I'd be here all day, I feel. So I think the most important thing to recognize here is this guy is genuinely just a great human being, and he gives great man hugs. It's none other than Chris Brogan. Chris, welcome to the show.
Gavin, funnily enough, I would want to be nowhere else besides here.
That is very, very kind. Well, let's get straight to the serious questions then.
Sure.
How many selfies do you have on your phone? Because I feel like you are the Insta selfie king.
Oh, no, I think so many more people could win that one. But that's what I post a lot, I guess. I have at this moment, no more than 10 because I am a deleter. I delete so many photos out of my phone all the time because I'm worried that one day I will hit the upper limit of my phone when I need it most. And so there are maybe 25 photos, of which maybe 6 are me, and then the rest are people I might love.
Well, only 25 photos.
That's about it.
I've got like 3,000 or something on there.
Yeah, I have this software called Dropbox, and that's where those are. So if I want to really reminisce a moment, I'll pop open that and show people there. But I do love though, Gavin, and I think that I'm doing it wrong. Let no one watching or listening or whatever, let no one think that I'm doing it right, because I love when someone opens their phone at the table and we can look through those things. I love it.
I agree. Me too. Until you see like the nudes or the
naked.
pictures.
Yep. It's always like, wow, you have a beautiful dog. You have oh wow, you groom differently. Okay.
Maybe that is the dog.
That could be.
Moving on. So Chris, I feel like I could sit and speak to you forever about a range of things, writing, speaking, but the thing that I find that you do differently to everybody else is you come across really vulnerable in your posts, and I feel like you don't care, and take this in a good way, I feel like you don't care what people necessarily think. At the same time, I'll caveat that, I can tell that you care a lot about what people think when it comes to serving people and helping people. So there was a video that you posted back in March this year, and it talked about the way that we talk about depression and anxiety. Right. And I'm going to be completely honest here and say that it's not really a topic that I know a huge amount about. But I really liked the video and how your thoughts on how we can maybe end the stigma when it comes to things like depression. And what I'd love to speak to you about today is how depression and anxiety and mental health issues, and correct me if I use any of the terms incorrectly,
sure.
How they can impact, well, first of all, I feel like there's probably quite a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs that probably have things like anxiety or suffer from feelings of anxiety. So how that impacts, and also how it impacts you as a business owner and a speaker. Because
sure.
I feel like in the business owner space, the entrepreneur space, I do that with inverted commas, and maybe the speaking space, that there's a tendency there to make yourself look good and
right.
to be that alpha, so to, like, I stand on stage, it's about me. First of all, why do you think that is? Or do you feel like the same way? Do you feel that
there's so much meat you've given me to talk about, funnily enough. I think that we could cover many things. First, so when one is presenting, there's a there's a self-esteem challenge whenever one has to get on stage. Everyone feels it, no matter how incredible they think they are. When we get on stage, we're judging ourselves so heavily standing up there. We think, oh, I'm so stupid. They're not going to know, I'm not the expert, whatever. Even when we're the expert, we think we're not. And what comes of this is also, are they looking at me funny? Did I put on some weight? Do they notice? Am I older than they thought I was going to be? All these thoughts, none of which you really have to contend with, except for, am I the expert, right? You. But or the other way, Gavin. So let me not discount that. Am I too young? Are they looking at me like I'm the kid? Are they not going to give me credibility, even though I've worked really hard to earn this information? You earned my attention. I thought you were a swell guy. I liked everything you were saying just out and about. But when you spoke and gave your presentation, I was riveted and I pulled my pen out. And I did not think I was going to pull my pen out. I thought I was just going to enjoy your talk. But I wrote notes, Gavin. And that's what we want, right? That's the feeling we're hoping that someone comes away going, now that was something. And you absolutely surprised me, which might sound like a put down. I was just saying, this will be fun. Gavin's nice. He's funny. He's very affable. It's going to be a great conversation. I know so much. What am I possibly going to learn from this young buck? Plenty. I filled 1.5 pieces of note paper. So we all bring that to the stage. So that's why I think we have to seem like an alpha or something. Yeah. But what I've come to find, there's sort of more than one way to perform, of course, but I find that there's so many people performing with that particular ethos of, just look how amazing I am. Our mutual friend Sue B. Zimmerman, who is the Instagram selfie expert in my head. That's why I can't possibly lay the claim. I take about 1/80th of the pictures of myself that she does. And, she does it well. I would say that, for everyone wanting to sort of, portray a strength and everything, I bet there's so many people here that don't always feel this strong. I bet there's so many people here that see that and then think, oh, I'm not that. I guess I won't even try. And that's why I started talking about this stuff. 1 in 5 people. So quick about depression and anxiety. We can feel depressed sometimes. That's not depression. We can feel anxious sometimes. That's not anxiety. And stress is something where we all feel stress. We all feel it the same way, sort of. But clinical depression and clinical anxiety means that even if everything is going great, it doesn't mean everything's, you don't feel it. With anxiety, when I just felt anxiety, I haven't had it in a long time, but I just felt it Wednesday. I had to go into a session where I thought that I felt like, what if I'm going to get attacked? And then that just sort of rifled up into my body. Well, for me, it feels like I might be having a heart attack. And I feel the sweat go down all the parts of my body. And I look at the exit a lot. Like, I really have to get out of this room because at any moment, a bunch of ninja warriors might come through or something. Whatever the feeling is very intense. 1 in 5 people deal with depression, the chemical sort of depression, every single day and still go to work. 1 in 5. A lot of times they don't really do their best work on those days, but that's how many people this is impacting on any given day. And then worse mental conditions, it's like 1 in 20 for people with schizophrenia problems. And there's all these mental health problems that, we feel like there are more of them today, but what happens is there is more willingness to report on it than ever before. In Irish culture, the black dog has been around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. I got bit by the black dog. And, when you were a mill worker or something, or, a very working class sort, no one cared. Do your damn job, wait till lunch bell to ring, get home when you get home, right? Now a lot of our jobs require our intellectual capabilities as well as our hands. And so it's definitely why we see more of that happen, Gavin. And so now that I've said all those things, I'll loop it back to your real question. Why did you go the way you did? Why are you willing to be you? I thought that maybe some people would like to see someone be really who they are on every given day. And if I had a bad night's sleep, me to stay on the stage, I really didn't sleep well. So if I slur or stutter, I'm not drunk yet, but that'll be later. I think it's fun to be able to, make sure people know it's okay to talk about or joke about or whatever, but also to acknowledge that, we're not 100%. And so maybe someone watching your show thinks, oh, Gavin has everything. But even if you don't experience clinical depression, you definitely have your challenges that you think people just really don't know about this. They don't feel it. And I just really wanted to surface that more for more people.
Yeah, and I think that's such an interesting point, because you've kind of created 100 different questions in my head, which, and I think one of the main ones I'll take from what you just said at the end there about everyone has their own problems, their own issues. One of the things that I know I certainly have struggled with in the past is working from home and feeling the kind of loneliness and the inability to speak to people if there's a specific problem, or being able to bounce ideas off it, and sometimes having like that cabin fever feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, do you feel like that's something you experience?
Well, so I have the extra benefit of being a very introverted person, so I like being alone. But I could say that the side of that I can very much relate to is that sense of not having someone just to ask, do you ever run into this problem? Or I feel like I just had this interaction with this person and I thought I handled it well, but they seemed even more angry when I was done. What did I do wrong? Or I thought they were going to offer me this much money for this project and they didn't. And I don't know how to talk back the way I want to. I don't know how to make the negotiation not seem like I'm just being greedy. There's so many things we don't know. And I feel like there are two types of people working alone in their home. There are those who are willing to pick up and call or text or anything, a friend, and say, hey, what would you do right now? And then there's those people that think they're supposed to already know, and they feel that guilt of like, I should already know this, so I'm going to just not answer for a very long time because I don't really know. Yeah. And I think that, again, sort of like me telling people about depression, I think it's really important that we keep pointing out how this really could work, and how people working alone really could, if you just nurtured a small enough network, have the people to bounce the question off. Yeah. And I think that there's so much opportunity. As far as needing to get out and see some people, I think that's true of humanity right now. I think that there's a few things at play. Religion is, all over the world, organized religion is seeing a drop in numbers. And it's partly because most religions don't quite cover some of the social challenges we want to see covered, or we don't like their response to something. And I'm not throwing any stones at any particular religion, but those numbers are numbers. They're empirical. I can't fight on them. But I think we need the communal nature of what church offered people before. Even if we didn't like all about the message, we got together, we gathered, we shook hands or hugged or whatever we do in whoever's religion. And we gathered in a spot for a moment and had at least the opportunity to say hey to a few people. And I think that we've really built a digital hermitry into a future that I don't think is sustainable.
Yeah, what I find fascinating about this is almost the antidote to this is something that which I found to work really well for me is, I know that, and it kind of actually links back to your point there, that I've got this feeling of being lonely sometimes at home. I know all my entrepreneurial friends have the same feeling. So why don't we just get together every so often and work together? And that's one of the best things that I've done to be able to spark back enthusiasm if there ever is times where I'm not feeling great. It's just like, hey, why don't you come and work from mine today and I'll come work from yours tomorrow? And yep. Immediately you've got that sense of being able to bounce ideas off, talk about challenges, and it's great. So what I'm interested in is something that you said before, which was when you stand on stage sometimes and you are openly saying, I didn't have a huge amount of sleep last night. I feel like that would almost be a big positive to the people in the audience, because they're going to be going, this guy's human. He's not one of these douchebag speakers. But from an event organizer point of view, have you ever had any backlash from an event organizer based on that? Because they might be hiring you, paying your fee, and expecting this big, performance on stage. Like how? So that's part one of the question. And the second part is, if you are feeling low or you have not had much sleep or whatever it may be, how do you amp yourself up to get on stage in front of 500, 600, whatever it is, 100 people?
What a great pair of questions. I was trying to think about, I try my hardest to make sure that people have seen video of some sort of my speaking style way before they see it. And I really should stress for people who haven't seen me speak or are watching this, I'm not morose and sad and miserable on stage. I'm funny. I tell jokes. I have energy, but I definitely am very real the whole time. If anything can come up, if my love of my life, Jacqueline, calls, I'll answer it in the speech, because why not? I think it's funny.
I love that.
I think it's funny, and so it's probably not funny, but I think it's funny. So then, so I've performed in lots of interesting arenas where that matters. I performed on stage at Disney a bunch of times for their two moms conferences there, and where they brought all these women in, these women business owners that were also moms, and the other people were like Kathy Ireland, the supermodel turned billionaire business, and the woman who built Build-A-Bear Workshop and all that, and me. And my stage presence is never that kind of the show must go on and I have memorized my words, and I don't have that theatricality. The one time I can tell you that it was so prevalent, I went to a big event, 7,500 people. It was called Network Marketing World, which is for, those friends of yours that sell like Rue La La, or, anyone is trying to get you to join their line or something, those sorts of people. And I think some of those businesses are great. And I think that almost everything that we don't like about them is a lack of education and a lot of poor choices on some of the newer people coming to those businesses. But people who do it well do it amazingly well. So the stage was full of people like Harvey McKay, who is a really great, he was a business hero of mine from the 80s or so, but he's still out there speaking. Les Brown, who did Live Your Dreams, very vaunted people. And I had to follow Tony Robbins. And the only thing I will tell you about that is that thank the sweet tiny Buddha that Tony Robbins was just on a video because he couldn't make it there. Because I could totally beat a room full of people watching a video of Tony Robbins. I would have died dead on the vine if I spoke directly after the man himself. He's a force. And say what you will, but he is all the energy in the world. So I went onto that stage to talk about something unlike the way anyone else talked about it. It was a speech that I wrote the day before and kind of scratched a few edits on one piece of paper in my hand, that I looked down at the notes, and I showed people when I got on the stage. I said, so here's my notes. If I'm looking down a little bit, it's because I haven't given the speech 27,000 times. I wrote it for you. But what do you think in that moment, Gavin? They think, oh, this is really personalized. Yep. I just saw all these legendary people use the talking points they've used in 35,000 other venues. But Chris is talking to me about me right now, and so that's how I won. That's how I got great applause. That's how I made it work great. It was because you always win if the person feels like it's just for them. If it's so intimate with 7,500 people, where I make eye contact, where I said people's names who were in the audience, just like I did in Edinburgh when you saw me there. Yeah. I do the same thing. So I had met, a few dozen or maybe 100 people the night before. So I said, oh, there's Donna over there. Hey, Donna, good to see you. How doesn't she feel with 7,500 people? No one else on the whole ticket knew anyone else's name because they were just taking the check and leaving. So I think you can do it that way. I think you can be that. You don't have to have the most incredible performance if you can really connect. I now feel that I need to get just a little better at sort of playing the hits and being personal. Billy Joel, for instance, is an incredible musical performer, but he talks super personally in between every song. Adele does that. So do several other performers. And it's not the same experiences like BTS and the boy bands. It's its own thing. And I think that you could choose to be either. I choose to be someone that wants to make sure the audience knows I'm with them.
I love that. And I get that in all of the marketing that you put out, the blogs, the videos, whatever it is, it always feels very intimate. And yes. I think your style of speaking is really unique. And I love, the thing that I love taking from there is a lot of people will be listening to this if they know who you are. If they don't, they will now. Will maybe see you as a big speaker, like you're at Social Media Marketing World, you're speaking at all the big events. But what I loved to hear with you there was just saying, I know what I need to improve on. This is what I do now, but this is what, so like although you're a big name speaker in inverted commas, you've still got improvement to make in your own words, which is really cool.
Oh, absolutely. So the house that I'm at right now is a friend of mine, and he's a chef, and he learns all the time. And whenever he's not an active chef right now. He's not running a specific kitchen. He owns an inn, and he has a few other businesses, but lifetime of being a chef. So he would, everywhere he'd go, chefs spend their money. What chefs spend most of their money on are going to restaurants of people they admire and seeing what they can learn. And they wait anxiously for the opportunity to get invited back into the kitchen and bring their knives and, cut a few bell peppers or something while they're learning something at the feet of another person. I think that the best of us in this business never once think they have anything mastered.
Yeah.
I never ever say I'm a master. I never ever say expert. I try my hardest never to live with the phrase expert, because I think that the minute we do that, we're done. We've given up, and I also feel that there's even if we just did our own thing and tried to stay in just one little piece, I think that we can always work on variations on our themes. We can always work on, maybe I've gone about it all wrong. I don't like to use slides. And so sometimes I try really hard and make great slides just to see if that feels fun. Never does. But one of these times, maybe I'll love it. So yeah. I think that's a good point, Gavin.
Lifelong learning. I love it. I'm going to interrupt proceedings here, Chris, to play a fun little game. It is called the 5-second rule. Have you ever heard of it, played of it?
Not the game. No, I pick a lot of food off the ground and eat it, after.
I like to call that the 10-minute rule. This is the 5-second rule. The rules are simple. I'm going to read out 10 different statements. They might be things like name 3 types of bird, and you've got to give me your answer to that statement within 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
If you get them, you get a point. If you don't get a point. And you're competing against all the other guests.
Okay.
I've got one question for you, which isn't part of the game. Would you like the red cards, which are easier, or the yellow cards, which are harder?
Oh, come on. Who takes the easy way? I'll have to go yellow.
Going yellow. Okay. Are you ready to go?
Ready to go.
Name 3 newspaper cartoon strips.
Garfield, Peanuts, and Family Circus.
You got it. Just in time. Name 3 words beginning with J.
J. Juke, junk, jive.
Nice. 2 out of 2. Name 3 items of clothing a sportsman might wear.
One of those cups, a helmet, and cleats.
One of those cups.
I start with cup. I start right with the testicle.
3 out of 3. Name 3 foreign languages taught at school.
French, Spanish, and German.
Nice. And name 3 words beginning with try, T-R-I.
Try. Tricycle, triumvirate, and trifecta.
You are nailing this. Name 3 sections of a newspaper.
Business, money, entertainment.
There we
That's
go.
the USA Today. That's that awful.
Name 3 things on a menu in a fish and chip shop.
Oh, I don't go to a lot of fish and chip shops, so I'll go with haddock, chips, and clam box.
Oh, out of time, I'm afraid. Name 3 things that are slow.
Turtles, snails, and sloths.
Nice. Name 3 things that are straight.
I'm gonna wreck that one. Lines, arrows, and necks.
Out of time, I'm afraid. And final one, name 3 safari parks or zoos.
I'll just let the time run on that one. 3 safari parks or zoos.
Yeah, I don't know that. 7 out of 10. That is a very, very good score.
Okay.
Very good score. We will see how you compare against the other guests.
Thank you.
But great job. Okay, we're actually running out of time, Chris. So I'm going to ask you one final question.
Okay.
That question is, if we were to fast forward 10 years, what advice would you give your current self?
I love that question. Advice to me from 10 years ago: why did it take you so long to do all this stuff, you big stupid idiot? You could start now. I would not be nice to my past self. If I go back in time, I'm going to beat that guy up so bad. I think that the fastest way out of a hole is to start climbing out of the hole. I think the fastest way through your problem is to start doing something about your problem instead of worrying about the problem. I think that depression, one of the things depression does is it eats time. Time is, the bad cells in your body from cancer eat other good cells. I think the cancer of depression is very much about eating your time, because it's hard to get out of bed. It's hard to do anything. It takes a lot longer to accomplish the stuff you want to do. And so that's really the 10-year advice would be just always fight so hard to get out of that depression. Always, whatever chemical you need, whatever treatment you need, whatever, just get it done. Don't wallow so long. So that's it.
I love that. And I think it was one of your videos or your blogs that you wrote, just go to work.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Gavin, I'm from my family was a very working family. They were very much like, say, upper, lower class. And then they sort of fought their way into the middle. And I would say that, my dad had 4 jobs growing up. My mom had 2. And where I am here right now at this house, everyone around has at least 5 different lines of work. And I think that, for those of us who are sitting around wondering why our selfies aren't buying us more cars, I have a good answer. It's because you're not working. And all these people who wonder why they're not internet famous, they're not doing internet value. They're not doing anything. So if we work, if we kind of put our boots back on instead of wonder about our glass slippers, we're going to just do a lot better for everybody.
I love it. So just to finalize then, what would a standard working day for Mr. Chris Brogan look like?
What I try to do most is as much productive creativity as possible. Learn that I said the word productive creativity, not, I don't draw unicorns in journals. Someone's going to punch me for that because they've been told that you're supposed to be, who cares about it? Just do it for fun. Yeah. I don't do anything for fun. I do things because I think I can be helpful. And so I'm always kind of working through that. Yeah. So my day starts with as much productive creativity as I can muster. And then when the time comes that I'm going to get to the end of it all, my hope is that I can then find some time to do the administrative work that I hate so terribly much.
Love it. And I love that productive creativity, because I feel like exactly what you say. You can sit and draw unicorns all day, or you can do something that is actually going to move the needle in your business or whatever it is that you're looking to achieve. Chris, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today. And for people that want to learn more about you, and I definitely recommend you go check out Chris's writing, both from his blogs and his books. I mean, there's just one little thing that I was reading a blog of yours that's back from 2017, and you started the blog off by talking about how you were 30,000 feet in the air and you'd just been for a pee, and something about washing your hands or something along those lines. It was going for a pee on a plane, and I was just like, that is Chris Brogan down to a T, and I love it. So where can everyone find you? On planes, peeing, washing my hands, making sure I put that in the story so I'm the guy who washes his hands. chrisbrogan.com is fine. And what I always say is that my newsletter on chrisbrogan.com, when it pops up and begs you to get the newsletter, do it, because it's really the best thing I do. And I can only brag about 3 things in my life, and one of them is my newsletter. So it's what's good about it is not even that the words are good, it's that you can hit reply and make a friendship with me. And that's what matters most. Yeah, and I think that is how we first ever started speaking, and now I would class you as a good friend. So that's awesome. Cheers. Chris, thank you, Gavin. Thank you so much for coming on. My pleasure. Thanks for having me on. Hey team, me again, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the video version of the podcast, and I hope you took something away from that. Maybe a smile, maybe something of inspiration, or maybe an idea came to your mind. Be sure to drop me a comment and let me know what that thing was for you. Now, if you want to listen to more or watch more episodes of the podcast, you can do that here on YouTube or Facebook, or head over to Apple Podcasts or the podcasting platform of your choice. Just be sure to hit subscribe, leave us a little review and a 5-star rating, and I will love you forever. See you in the next episode.